going on, guys? My name is Brandon, and welcome to Audio Addiction, where you can find the latest album reviews, you can find our band interviews, and you can find live coverage of the concerts that we get. I'm going to see a local show tonight, actually, before probably while you're watching this video. So definitely, if I get the chance or if I bring my camera with me, I'll try to take video of that. And then I'm going to see Hail the Sun next week with that tour. Ironically enough, kind of, in terms of this album review. But definitely stoked to get video of that. I'm going to try to get all of the bands if I possibly can do it. If not, then I will try to get Eidola and Limbs and Hail the Sun. I will also try to get Capsize if I can as well. That's probably the band I'm least familiar with, but I will definitely be doing my research this week. So if you enjoy what we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure to hit that like button as well. It really does go a long way. And thank you guys for your support. So tonight, without further ado, we're going to be talking about Eidola's new record, To Speak, To Listen. So, I've heard about this band for some time now. I know that they have been signed with Blue Swan Records for, I don't know, for a pretty long time now. And I know they released a record on that. I have it upstairs in my room. Unfortunately, I'm down here where I don't have my CDs. I'm hoping to kind of move all my CDs down here if I can, just so I can have a quick reference. But yeah, I have seen them before. I actually caught them on the DGD tour they did with Sean pretty recently. So I have seen them live. They sound amazing, and I'm definitely stoked to see them again. I know that they're about in the same slot as they were on the Sean bill, so I consider their slot to be a pretty decent slot. I hope to get to see a lot of the newer songs that they'll be playing. I figured they'd be playing at least the singles for this record, but I'm hoping for a few tracks, hopefully, that they'll be doing off this record that, they previously weren't going to be doing. But definitely stoked to see them nonetheless, and stoked to give you my thoughts on the track. So we're going to get into the first track, The Abstract Planet of In Resolve, excuse me. This one is one of my favorites. It's definitely a great starter track, I would say, without a doubt. It opens with this cool sort of reverby intro with just an absolutely monstrous drum solo. It just starts off on the right foot, and I feel like with this record in comparison to the last one they did, I definitely feel like they've just explored more into this sort of genre, like post-hardcore, experimental post-hardcore. I definitely feel like they've definitely moved farther in there, but also I just feel like they have come together a little bit more than the previous record. I did listen to it pretty frequently. I was listening to a lot leading up to the Dance Gavin Dance show, but I do like this one far better already, starting off the bat. I definitely feel like it starts off really strong, just with the screams, and then the cleans really coming in and just make the song just absolutely flow really well, and just it has this just pull to it, which I really enjoy. Definitely loving the diversity of the cleans. There's anything from gritty tones to just really cleaned up, like almost falsetto-y sort of angelic sort of style, just falsettos and cleans and things of that nature. So definitely in that regard, clean wise is just really solid. I definitely feel like the range on his vocals are just really solid. They, like I said, they range from anything from, like, I'm trying not to compare them with Dance Gavin Dance, but they range from anywhere from like Dance Gavin Dance-esque, like Tillian, like Mothership sort of stuff, or Acceptance Speech, to like Kurt Travis's like Happiness, or like a lot like Bird style music. So definitely in terms of clean wise, I feel like he's kind of like in that range there, and he can do all of those things. So I really like that. I also like the really great balance between like melodic parts and heavy parts. I feel like this band, especially in this track and a lot of the tracks off this record, I feel like they balance them very well. There are some like really harder hitting spots, but at the same time they like to balance it out with more melodic parts. I feel like it's a really good 50-50 mix of that, and like I said, I think it's definitely a great opener and a great way to kind of give you an idea of what the album's gonna sound like. So we're gonna move it into the second track, which is Tell Us Stay. I don't even know, I'm gonna butcher all these names. If anything, they've really made these names hard to say, and I'm already terrible at pronunciating things. So if I do screw them up, I'm sorry. But this was the second single that they released. They did a music video for this one, which I was really stoked on. I really enjoyed it. I'm really just in love with the cleans. I feel like that is really what made a lot of these tracks, in my opinion. I know that I would say that most of these tracks off the record are mainly clean based. There are some tracks with some screams in it, but I wouldn't say it's more than like maybe 60-40, 60 clean, 40 dirty. I would definitely say there is just a heavy weight to more of the clean style vocals, which I really honestly don't mind. I definitely like the layered little touch of like, harmonies and things of that nature with this track as well. I definitely kind of, again, getting that sort of new Dance Gavin Dance vibe, especially in the instrumentals in certain parts. It feels very Dance Gavin Dance esque. Obviously, blues. Obviously, they're on Blue Swan, and Blue Swan's owned by Will Swan of Dance Gavin Dance. So, there obviously is that sort of influence, but you can definitely tell that in this track in particular. The drums are absolutely monstrous on this track. I would have to say that the drums, I don't particularly listen to them. However, like the drums on a lot of these tracks are just mind blowing. So, if you are a drummer, I highly recommend checking out this record. It's just absolutely monstrous. Whoever's behind the kit, I'm sorry if I don't know names, but you're a monster. This is crazy, and keep up the good work. But definitely cool stuff from that. And then I also love the bridge in this track. It has this really cool ambientness to it, and just really, again, another really solid track. I wouldn't probably put it in there with my favorites. I do think it's definitely solid. I think it starts off slow, but then it kind of picks up a little bit more. So in that regard, I really enjoyed that. So we're gonna move into track number three, which is Primitive Economics. This one's one of my favorites as well. I love that great sort of guitar, sort of tappy intro. Um, Awesome guitar work on this album in general too, as well. Like I said, instrumentally, I think this is where they've really kind of hit their stride, and I feel like they definitely have hit a lot of home runs on this record. But again, this one starts off right out the gate, much like the first track, The Abstract of a Planet in Resolve. Definitely has that sort of just punch to it, which I really enjoy. I'm also loving just the fast-paced grooviness of this track as well. It's just really, really solid. I definitely say that this would be one of the heavier tracks off the record. And then I like the sort of interesting sort of I guess slow down part around the 1 minute and 18-second mark. It just has this cool little quick breather, and then just kind of picks back up into the track, which I thought was kind of like an interesting little thought in there. I definitely feel like the chorus is super infectious and super catchy. Probably one of my favorites off the record as well. And then instrumentally, probably one of my favorites as well. Just the guitars are absolutely on point. Just I could probably listen to this track many, many times. The lead work is absolutely phenomenal. I feel like instrumentally they just have stepped it up a little bit more. I do remember them having really solid instrumentals, but I feel like this is just on another level. They've definitely kind of just taken it and just ran with it. So, in that regard, I really enjoy that. So, we're gonna move into track number four, which is Queerance. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronunciate it. Really, definitely liking the lower register of their clean vocalists, especially in the verses. I feel like it's a nice change up. It also adds a little bit of vocal diversity as well, just throughout the record. And just adds kind of something else to the arsenal, in just terms of vocals and things of that nature. So I really enjoyed that. I definitely feel like this, again, much like Tell Us Stay, it has that sort of slow, gradual build, and then it picks up. So I really enjoy that. Also, the dual vocals kind of add this sort of depth to the track. Also adds to like a cool little harmony piece as well. The clean runs are definitely spot on. They're amazing. They definitely have that sort of just, I don't know, they just have this smoothness to it, and they just fit into the track very well. And whoever their vocalist is, I think it's Andrew if I'm not mistaken, just flows very well through all the tracks. So really enjoy that. Also, definitely liking the more melodic elements of these tracks. I feel like that's something to point out in a lot of these tracks, is that they have this melodic feel to them. But I feel like in this one, in the sort of slower ones, you can definitely pick out those more like heavy undertones of melodic pieces. So in that regard, I really enjoyed that one. All right, so we're gonna move into track number five, which is I'm not even gonna try to say it. It's Amplissimus Machina. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. I don't know. But this one features our great friend Joey Lancaster of Belly Noir. This is definitely one of the heavier tracks. It is one of the singles as well. They released kind of a lyric video to that, or just video for that. But definitely liking the back and forth between the cleans and the screams. I think that that is really solid as well. You hear it through a few of the tracks, but I would say that again, they don't do that too often. So that would be something that I would maybe like to see in the future, on future records, and things of that nature. I know they did that a little bit in the previous record as well, but I definitely feel like that chemistry is starting to build, so I really enjoy that. Joey, as per usual, is just such a great guest vocalist. I would have to say he's one of my favorite guest vocalists, just period. He's done Strawberry Girl tracks, and he probably done a few more beyond that, but he just fits very well, and they always find like a great track for him to fit on. I definitely feel like he has that sort of just like this smooth sort of butteriness to his voice. I know that sounds really weird, but it definitely has this sort of smoothness to it. And I just, again, I think this is a great feature. He has that sort of more melodic, sort of angelic sort of voice, and so it's definitely different from, I believe it is Adam or Andrew. I mean, his vocals, clean vocals. So it's definitely a nice counterpoint to Andrew's vocals in cleans. Definitely instrumentally, it's again, I don't know how many more times I have to say it, but it's really great stuff. Definitely loving the lead guitar melodies as well, and I just definitely like hearing the bass being more prominent in a lot of these songs. I definitely feel like that's kind of something to point out. Bass isn't always the most relevant instrument in a lot of tracks, but I feel like in a lot of these tracks they definitely are. So I think they make good use of their bass player, and it definitely kind of fills that just kind of spatial gap, which I really enjoy. And I definitely feel like this track has just this great, cool sort of outro to it, which I really enjoy. So we're gonna move into track number 6, which is Loti. Has this nice break from again some of the more faster paced or more heavier bass tracks. I definitely feel like it's a nice space, has a nice space to it. It has some spaciness, some ambientness to it, which I really enjoy because that's kind of like another thing that they can add on to it just in terms of just melodies and things of that nature. The chorus definitely sounds huge. It has this just soaringness to it. But I definitely feel like this track has nothing too fancy to it, but I do appreciate the balance of the vocals and the instrument. So we're gonna move into track number 7, which is Dendrochronology. This one is also one of my favorites. I'm really loving the great sort of tappy guitar intro paired with just the cleans. Again, I love listening for those guitar parts. That's just something that I just gravitate towards. So I really enjoyed that. This one definitely has that sort of smooth groove to it, which I really enjoy as well. I like that this one has kind of a slow build to it. Again, a lot of these tracks have that sort of slow build, but it always pays off, and that's what I really enjoy about it. Also, instrumentally, just as insane. I would say that this one is probably one of the more technically based tracks. I'm really loving the sort of faster pace like guitar parts, and then they have these nice like kind of just fast abrupt stops just in the middle of the tracks. And they're just like kind of quick little like stutters or whatever, and they just sound really sick. And I feel like it kind of breaks up the track a lot, so I really enjoyed that. And I'm just loving just the atmosphericness of this outro, and just this track in general has that sort of just ambient vibe, but at the same time it has some really great grooves to it. So really enjoy that. So we're gonna move into track number 8, which is the Familiar. This one also has this sort of cool guitar riff as well to start the track off with. Really liking the chorus as well. Another really solid chorus from Eidola. Really liking just the grit of the cleans. You can definitely tell the just emotion back behind it. It feels like the words just mean a little bit more, and they just have just a little bit more emotion behind it. So in that regard, I really enjoy that. And then I feel like instrumentally, this track kind of sticks out to me. I just love how it sounds. It just flows very well with the vocals as well. And just has this sort of catchiness to it. So I would say that this one just has this sort of pull and just infectiousness to it, which I really enjoy. So we're gonna move into track number 9, which is House's Movement 3, Rust slash Rebuild. Probably one of my favorite tracks as well. Man, these names are just really hit me hard. But anyway, I'm really loving that sort of bass solo intro. I think that that's really cool. I think there also is some guitar. It definitely feels like it's octaved. And it feels like there's kind of two basses. I don't really know how to explain it until you listen to it, but definitely has that sort of fullness to it just to start off the track. I think it's definitely a really unique and really interesting intro. And it has a lot of exotic flair to it. You know, there are some incorporations of like bongos, some like, you know, like tambourine, things of that nature that are more like exotic things that um, you typically wouldn't hear. But I definitely feel like it grooves in the in the verses. This track is definitely has some of my favorite guitar riffs off the entire record. I think vocally this track is also insane. Probably one of my favorite vocal performances on the album. Period. There's just so much layers in the vocals and as well as just range and skill. It go from anything from like lower sort of register stuff to higher falsetto-y sort of runs. And I think definitely Andrew just knocks it out of the park in this track. It definitely has that sort of cool Egyptian vibe in the bridge as well. And then again, I'm loving the just additional layering of like bongos, like more exotic instruments like tambourine, the djembe and stuff like that. Just something that you don't hear a lot of. So it really sounds great, and I feel like it very much fits in this track in particular. So we're gonna move it into track number 10, which is Siri Vishnu Yantra. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that right. Hopefully. Really loving the sort of ambient, sort of spacey guitar parts. This track definitely has this heaviness to it, but again, it balances it out with more melodic, sort of spacier parts. So there is a nice I guess roller coaster effect where there are some like slower, more melodic parts, and then they can kind of pick it up, and then it goes back into the more melodic parts. So I like that. I definitely feel like this track has the most screams. I would say probably the most screams off the entire record. This one definitely has more of that. I'm really liking the cool little break with spoken word at around the 4 minute mark. Granted, a lot of these tracks are long, but they don't feel too long because I feel like they fit things in very well. So in that regard, that's just positive, and I really enjoy that. Also, I like how it picks back up after the sort of spoken word part and just gets back into the track and kind of finishes out like normal. I think that that is really solid. And just solid songwriting. I think that a lot of these tracks have a lot of songwriting skills that just fit very well. And they know how to kind of arrange things now. So I really enjoy that. So we're gonna move into track number 11, which is Transcendentium. I'm really bad with this. Part one, Zoroastrian. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that right as well. But man, these names, man, these are some hard names. But anyway, getting back to the review. Really liking sort of the glassy guitar intro, with just the paired with the vocals. Again, another really solid thing that I enjoy. There's this great sort of guitar solo around the 1 minute and 12 second mark. And then that after that, the guitar, just the song kind of picks up after that. Really loving the cleans and screams paired together as well. Like I mentioned, there are only probably a few tracks off this record where that has worked out. But overall, I think that that is really solid. I'm really liking the sort of changes throughout this track. It starts off very slow, then it picks up, and then they change something else out, and then the melody kind of changes as well. I think that this one has kind of the all-encompassing sort of track, as well as I'm also liking the addition of gang vocals as well, and that sort of end transition part. I think that this is really solid. Probably, definitely one of my favorite tracks off the record. And it kind of pairs well with the next track, track number 12, which is Transcendetium Part 2, The Fourth Temple. Another one of my favorite tracks off the record. All I have to say is the first thing that I put on here was just damn, this track grooves, and I don't think I could have said it any better. It just grooves hard. Like this is probably one of the most groovier tracks. Instrumentally, again, I'm getting kind of tired of saying it, but I'm not, because instrumentally this track will just blow your mind. I think it I think it might rival some DGD records, and I know that's hard for me to say because I am a big DGD fan, but I definitely feel like this one can rival some of the best records from DGD. Just, it's insane. This just has this great swing to it. It has this great groove to it that I feel like I wouldn't even say that it's missing from Dance Gavin Dance. It's just that they just do it better. I don't know how to explain it. And maybe you just have to listen to it, but it's definitely got this just great pull to it. It just has this infectiousness to it that really kind of drives me home and really wants me to listen to it. Vocally, again, it's really diverse. The cleans are all over the place, but in the best way possible. It also grooves really hard at around the 1 minute and 50-second marks. It feels very Dance Gavin Dance-esque. I know I've been referring to them a lot, but I have to say that they have really differentiated themselves from DGG, even though, they do have some stuff that kind of harken back to them, but I feel like they've just taken over and just went on a different direction. Really loving the solo over top of this sort of outro, or the outro sort of part. I feel like it just fits very well. I definitely feel like it's an amazing closer track to the record, and I definitely feel like this album is really solid from start to finish. And so I'm going to go into the pros and cons and give you a reason why, what I liked and what I didn't like. So, pros, I definitely feel like I've been saying, it's solid from front to back. None of the tracks felt very, I don't know, they didn't feel like they were unwelcomed or unwanted, and they all flow very well together. I feel like, to me, songwriting wise, they have just definitely stepped up the bar without a doubt, and they just have come up with just a solid album that I know I can go back and listen to and really enjoy and pick out different things. I think I think this has a lot of repeat value in my opinion. So I really enjoy that, and just songwriting wise, vocally, instrumentally, it's just really solid, and I really don't have any cons for it, honestly. It just sounds amazing. Everything just kind of fits very well together, and just the songwriting skill is there. So I definitely would highly implore you guys to check this record out if you haven't already. Again, if you're a fan of anything from Dance Gavin Dance or anything from Blue Swan, if you've listened to any band off Blue Swan, you have to know of Eidola. But definitely one of my favorites of this year, without a doubt. It just got this great groove, great infectiousness to it, and I definitely feel like they have rung me in as a new fan. I've always been a fan, but I definitely feel like they've kind of just locked me in terms of being a fan. So my overall rating for Eidola's new record, To Speak to Listen, I'm going to be giving it a 9.5 out of 10. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you check this record out. It is an amazing record. They spent a lot of time on it. If you're able to go out to a show, go check them out. If you're not, definitely try to pre-order this record. First week sales mean a lot to bands, so definitely show your support to them and make sure that you purchase their record, because it will help them get bigger tours and things of that nature. So definitely let me know in the comment section below if you did check out this record. What was your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? I would definitely like to know. I'm really stoked to be able to listen to this one. We have a few more reviews coming out probably the same day today. So definitely check back with the channel if you enjoy what we do. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also make sure that like button as well. And if you like us a lot, we have a merch store where there are links in the description where you can check those out. And we thank you guys for your support. So my name is Brandon, and we hope you got your fix, and we'll be talking with you soon. Peace. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps out our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com, and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.